guys, what is up? How you doing? How's your day going? Mine's going pretty good actually. Pretty nice attitude today, which is surprising because I've been really stressed lately. But today I thought I would talk about my favorite middle grade books because I really love this genre. I don't know if it's a genre exactly because I mean it's kind of the age range for books, but I feel really grateful for many middle grade books that shaped me kind of into who I am. Middle grade was really hard and lonely, and I think it's when most of our insecurities bloom, and if it weren't for books, I think I wouldn't be the person I am today, and I wouldn't have the tools that I have today. And I wouldn't be a reader if I hadn't found the books that I found back then. Many of them were YA, so I'm not going to include them in this video because we're talking about middle grade books here. But yeah, I'm going to talk about some of the books that really influenced my current reading taste. Maybe, I don't know, butterfly effect, it could be. But what I'm saying is I really appreciate the books I'm going to talk about today. And yeah, in middle school I read lots of YA and lots of dystopian like Divergent and The Hunger Games, and also lots of contemporary like Rainbow Rowell and stuff like that. But I think the first books that actually shaped my interest in books were middle grade books. And yeah, without further ado, let's just get into the books. So, which one is the first one I'm going to talk about? We're going to start with a classic because it feels right, you know? The first one I'm going to talk about is Narnia. Yeah, this is a really tiny edition. It's in Spanish. It is actually the edition I read for the first time when I read Narnia. So, yeah, it's got like cute illustrations. I can say that I discovered this was a metaphor to God and religion when I was a teenager, so I had no idea about that when I read it when I was a kid. I read it like I don't know, I was like 10 when I read this book, and I think courage and bravery are the first words that come into my head when I think about this book. The youngest child, Lucy, believes in magic more than any of the other siblings, and just like the first and the second book I think are the ones I am most influenced by. So I really owe this book a lot in terms of bravery and childhood because these kids, they're really young, and especially Lucy, she was really inspiring to me because she was really brave and she believed in magic. I love the world building in Narnia. Childhood is the main door to this book because if the characters weren't children, then they would never find Narnia in the first place because they get into the wardrobe, right? And I don't know, I feel like it really marked me as a kid, and I used to go look into the back of every single wardrobe of the houses I went to, and I was really disappointed that Narnia was not there. But I just think it represents the fantasy inside a child's head really well. Leaving the religious reference aside, I think it is a really good story about children basically and what they're capable of with their minds, because it is adults who actually drain that fantasy out of us. It's really important for my soul to be reminded of Narnia and how I believe Narnia was real when I was a kid. The world try to make you forget that you thought Narnia was real, and it's an act of rebellion to remind yourself of that and to keep that child inside you alive. So that's why I love Narnia and other fantasy books as well that I'm going to get into later. Second book I'm going to talk about, I don't know if this is exactly middle grade. It could be YA, but I'm not sure because I did read this in middle school and it feels like a middle grade book. But I'm going to get back to you on that. I'm going to put it in the corner if I find any information on the specific genre of this book. But it is called El Valle de los Lobos by Laura Gallego Garcia, who is Spanish writer, fantasy writer. She writes mainly YA. I don't think she's ever written like an adult fantasy or anything like an adult book. I've only seen YA and children's books. I can't talk for the rest of her books because I've only read this series, but I can say that this book series, it's a fast read, which makes it really accessible to middle grade people, like children and young adults. And it was kind of an introduction to fantasy. This book is about a girl named Dana, and she can see, okay, that would be spoiling it though. Like, I don't know how to explain this book without spoiling you guys. But basically, Dana is taken to a tower to learn about magic. In this world, we have a lot of fiction that portrays magic as an energy coming from the elements of the earth, and this book is no exception. So there's fire and water and air and everything, and earth. I don't remember very well because I read it a long time ago, but the magic was really cool. And there was this master. The thing with this book that I really like is that it's not like an academy she goes to. If it were an academy, it wouldn't be as intriguing and interesting as it is, because the Academy of Magic or School of Magic is really overused. Many authors write about academies and schools of magic. So what I like about this book is that this tower she goes to is actually empty, and there are like 3 or 4 people who live there, and that's what makes it even more intriguing and interesting. You start learning about these other characters that are in the tower, and they're all kind of secretive, and there's mystery, and there's wolves around this tower at night, and they can't go out of the tower because the wolves are really wild and they can kill you. So I'm not going to tell you any further, but it's really good. It's really good. It's book 1 to the entire series called Las Crónicas de la Torre, which would be the Tower Chronicles. And there's actually like a special poster here that I've always liked in the back of the book, and I really enjoy this because it's a poster of the tower, and yeah, we really like that. This is a really cool book, and at the beginning of it, I'm gonna give you a small tour. We have illustrations with like character sheets, you know? It's very cool. The illustrations are pretty amazing, and I really like this book. There's a lot of friendship and love. Just the love in this book is, it's so good. It's just such a pure love and such an intense feeling of love. I can't explain it another way. Number 3 is The Golden Compass by Philip Pullman, and this is a trilogy that I always forget the name of. It is His Dark Materials. His Dark Materials. You've probably heard about this book. It was famous back in the day. I read this book because a friend of mine from dance class actually gave it to me. It used to be hers when she was a teenager / kid, and she gave it to me because she was getting rid of some old books, and she was like, you're gonna like this, and this book was really special to me, so I really recommend it to you. And I was so grateful for her just giving me a book as a gift that used to be hers and used to be really important to her, that I read it, of course, and I loved it. This book is about a girl named Lara. She's like 11 or 12, kind of middle grade age, and she lives in this world where humans have a companion that is tied to their soul. So they have a really intense connection to these companions. Again, we face a very intriguing kind of magic in this book because there's a lot of mystery regarding dust. And I'm not going to tell you what dust is or what it stands for or how it acts, because I'd be spoiling the entire trilogy to you. But this book gets really interesting. What I enjoyed the most in this book was the magic, how the companions worked, and how their souls were literally tied together, that they can't be apart physically, and if the other gets hurt or dies, the other one just goes through the same thing, and it's really intense. And I love how they portrayed in this book. I love the dust and how we learn about it, the way we discover things about it, and kids are being kidnapped. I forgot to tell you that. So that's how the story gets rolling. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I haven't actually read the third book in the series, which is the last one. I don't know why, don't ask me why. I just haven't gotten around to it and I really want to read it. Book 2 is really amazing as well, so I recommend you get this and read it because I really enjoyed it, and I don't know what your thoughts are about it. Maybe you've read it. Tell me. Next one is Wolf Brother by Michelle Paver. I talked a little bit about this book in my latest video. Yeah, this book I read in middle school as well. This is the book that takes place in prehistory, and it's about a boy named Torak, and Torak is 12 years old if I recall correctly. He has to survive on its own in the forest after his dad dies. So it's really like a coming-of-age story, but when he's 12, because it's in prehistory, so he has to take care of himself and like not die on his own, which is really scary. He soon meets a little wolf that becomes his companion, and they become friends, and they can actually like communicate. It's a really beautiful book in my opinion. I enjoyed every single page of it. I could never finish the second book in the series. I don't know why. It just happened to me. I just couldn't finish it. But but this one, the first one, is a really good book, and there's a lot of like myths and spiritual stuff and like a demon bear that is eating everything and killing everything in the woods. And this book has really inspired the book I'm currently working on. The entire connection between the wolf and Torak is quite the protagonist in this story. Like, you can actually understand their bond and connect to it emotionally. I think it's very sensible and lovable. That's it. Okay, so the next book I'm going to talk about is very controversial, and my heart is tightened because of it. But I have to mention it, you guys. I have to, because I'd be lying to you if I didn't. And you probably already guessed what it is. So yeah, we've got Harry Potter, and although I really do not support, thank you, although I don't support J.K. Rowling's opinions, I have to mention this book. Harry Potter will never be the same after the latest events that are really recent. They've been going on for a while now, but still, as a child, I really appreciated this story. It really saved me, I think, in middle school. I don't know if I'd be here if it weren't for Harry Potter. I have to say that. It's the truth. And that's why it saddens me so much. Because a story being that important to me, I know it's just as important to many, many people. And it's heartbreaking to know that its creator thinks those things and has hurt a lot of people. So yeah, now it really saddens me, and I do not support it at all, but I have to say it. That's it. And just like that, we've reached the last book I'm going to talk to you guys about today, and that is another book in Spanish. Great. Okay, so this book is called Lejos de Frin, which would be like away from friend or far away from friend. And I read this for school, actually. Weird? Yes, weird that I like a book that I read for school, but I did like this book. I felt really cool when I finished this because this wasn't like short for a middle grade book. It's like 400 pages. This book is about a group of friends. I can't tell you exactly what it's about because I read this like in 5th grade or 6th grade. Yeah, I don't remember the details. The other day I was reading like the first couple of pages and I laughed out loud like 10 times because I don't know, it's funny. I laugh with this book, and I remember it being so much about friendship. And there's this girl called Alma that, yeah, moves away. So that's the main plot. I remember that the entire plot just happened around that fact that Alma just like moved away. And there's something about this book, about these friends living in a small town, that I really related to. I was more like an introvert in middle school, but I still really enjoyed this book. And I remember we did a play afterwards, and just to cover like these friends walking, you know, with the moon and the friendship and the jokes. I just really enjoy this book. I can't tell you exactly what it was about. I just remember this girl moving away, and that was really important for all the characters, especially for the main character friend, because I think he was dating her or he liked her. I don't remember, but I guess I will have to reread this so I could give you like a proper review, because of course I don't remember much. So yes, those are all the middle grade books that I feel have influenced my life. I think they were really important for me at some point, and I felt like doing this video because I really like middle grade books. If you want to recommend middle grade books, please do. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I convinced you of reading any of these. If I did, tell me. If you've read any of the books I just talked about, what were your thoughts on it? Like, what do you think about them now? Did you read them when you were a kid, or did you read them now? How old are you? I don't know. Maybe you're a kid. I have no idea. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up and everything. And thank you guys for watching. I had a lot of fun filming this video because I like middle grade books. I've said that like 82 times. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.